this is how I'm making an impact. This is where God has chosen to use my gifts to have a positive impact on other people, to encourage other people, and to give them a little bit of what I like to say, like autonomy and camaraderie and hope and fitness, friendship, and fun, And so I love them so dearly. We are just a big family. So, but it is devastating news. And they're embarrassed even to go out to eat because maybe the tremor of them trying to hold a fork or to hold a glass, or and it's a progressive disease, so there's no cure for it. That is where the program comes in, and it delays the onset of symptoms, and in many cases it can reverse it. Because you've met one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person with Parkinson's, because it affects everybody so differently.
Welcome to M-powerTV, where we leave a legacy of hope through conversations that uplift, educate, and inspire. Listen to incredible stories of people who overcame challenges and barriers, celebrate victories, learn from setbacks, and push forward together.
And you would hear all this torture, and then they would shoot.
Want to be empowered? Let's go. Subscribe for more and get this book now.
Hello and welcome to M-powerTV. My name is Lorna Grayling, and today we're going to be talking about something super interesting that you would have never imagined to put together. So Parkinson's and boxing, right? Kickboxing, but you call it rock box, right?
Yes, rock box.
So
Yeah.
Courtney Henderson, welcome. You are from Rockbox, and you have a phenomenal testimonies and stories about what you are doing with the Parkinson's community and boxing. So welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here, Lena. I'm so excited.
Well, before we go into all of the incredible things that you are doing, just tell me a little bit, how did you get into fitness and training? Where did this start for you?
I've always enjoyed fitness and things like that. About 10 years ago, I moved back here to Brevard County and got into kickboxing, became a certified kickboxing instructor with Kick International, really liked it. And the Parkinson's community actually came to me and wanted to use the facility that I was at to have this boxing-based program for them.
Yeah.
And immediately I said, I can do this.
Yeah.
Well, why not me?
Yeah.
And so they're like, great, we want to start now.
So they found you, basically.
Yeah, they found me. And so I said, okay, let's do this.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So it was,
and now you're doing it, right?
I'm doing it.
But before that, right, you were doing something completely different, right? You were working for the American Boy Scouts.
I was.
Right? And you were selling roofs, right?
Yeah.
Like all around the world. You would travel all around the world. You had this high income job, traveling. It's completely different to what you're doing now.
Completely different.
Right?
Completely different.
Oh
I loved what I did for the Boy Scouts. They actually hired me out of college before I graduated college, and I worked for the special needs program. So I fundraised, but I was more not in the program itself, but managing behind the scenes, doing the fundraising and event planning and things like that of the program, getting the schools involved in the program and things like that. So it was great, but there wasn't that much of that connection with the program, with the kids. You loved those moments where you got to go in there and be with those kids, but they're few and far between, but it was great.
The rest is just hustling, right? Finding money.
Yeah, right. It was something I believed in. I was passionate about helping those kids because it made a difference. It was a great program. It's a great program.
Yeah.
And then I started selling roofing material all around the world.
Goodness.
Doing well with that.
Yeah, because you earned
but
pretty good
missing
money,
that
right?
piece,
Yeah.
missing that.
Did you always feel like you were meant to do something different, like you were born to make an impact in the world? Was that something that you felt that was missing in the roofing job? Because you earned a huge salary, like you were living the dream. You were living the American dream. You were making a high income. You were traveling the world. Like from the outside, that would look like you were living the American dream, right?
I did. I thought,
the
wow,
inside,
I can't believe,
missing piece.
A huge missing piece. A huge missing piece. And I remember growing up, people would be like, oh, what do you want to do? I don't know. Like, you know, I just know I want to make a difference in people's lives, you know? And so, and I remember that now thinking back and looking and being like, hey, I remember thinking that. I remember feeling that, you know? And now, of course, later in life, now that you know, I'm like, that's what I'm missing. I knew that that's what I was missing then, you know? And so when the Parkinson's community showed up, I didn't even make the connection then that was going to become such a passion of mine. And now here 8 years later, it's the one thing that it has just grown for me to see that this is, you know, this is how I'm making an impact. This is where God has chosen to use my gifts and what the talents that He has given me to have a positive impact on other people, to encourage other people. And to give them a little bit of what I like to say, like autonomy and camaraderie and hope and fitness, friendship, and fun. You know, I want them to feel connected and
you
empowered.
are. I mean, you are making a phenomenal difference. And we're going to talk about some of the testimonials, right? But before we do that, like, tell us a little bit about Parkinson's, right? If we can define Parkinson's, like what does that mean, and what does that do for a person when they go to the doctor and they get this news? All right, now you have Parkinson's, right? So what does that do for a person? Let's start there, because I can even see you tearing up, because it's such a, you know, death sentence, right? In a way, for a person to hear that, right?
Sorry, it's when you say that, I automatically think of my Parkinson's family.
Yeah.
You know, and so I love them so dearly.
Yeah.
We are just a big family. So, but it is devastating news, and you know, a lot of them will cower in, you know, and they don't want to go out, and you know, they're embarrassed even to go out to eat because maybe the tremor of them trying to hold a fork or to hold a glass or things like that, you know, it's depressing. It can, and then of course, aside from the emotional things that are going on, there's physical things that are going on, physical things that we can see and physical things that the person right there in front of you doesn't see that are going on. But it is a neurological disorder. Okay, that has to do with dopamine, right? And crossing the synapses of the brain. And it's a progressive disease, so there's no cure for it, right? And it progresses, you know. There's no stopping it per se, but that is where the program comes in, and it delays the onset of symptoms, and in many cases it can reverse it.
That's amazing.
Right? So you can gain people's autonomy and things like that back. But there's over 5,000-6,000 people in Brevard County alone that have Parkinson's, right? Sure. Florida is actually first or second state with the most people affected with Parkinson's.
Yeah, and I think it's because a lot of people come and retire in Florida. So we do have a lot of older people living here. So yeah, the figures are very high.
Yeah, there's no test for it either. So I mean, they're gaining things that markers and things like that, but there's still not just a good old, you know, prick your finger blood test that you can do. So people are often misdiagnosed. Sure. You know, they, you know, they just kind of are prescribed the medication and to see if it works. You know? And if the results are positive, then there's confirmation. And, you know, aside from just the knowledge of the neurologists themselves, you know, seeing the disease and in the various forms, because you've met one person with Parkinson's, because it affects everybody so differently. Yeah. So what might be a symptom for you might not be a symptom for somebody else that, you know, next to you, you know. While there's a lot of similarities, of course, but it doesn't affect everybody the same way. So.
And it affects the whole family, evidently, right? Because if one person gets the diagnosis, so now they've gotten the news, and now this is starting to progress, it affects their life. Obviously, it's going to affect them emotionally as well, right? In many ways, it's really going to impact their lives, their social life, what they love doing, and I can imagine a lot of them become incredibly depressed. And of course, anybody who has anyone in the family who suffers from severe depression can attest, like, that is really heavy on the family and
It is.
everybody around them as well. So
And
that's
there's
not easy at all.
So many other things, you know. They can have a dementia because of it, you know.
Okay.
That some of them have as a result of it. Some of them have hallucinations, which can be a cause of the Parkinson's.
I didn't even know that.
Or a
That's
cause of the disease, the medicines, you know. So, you know, that's heartbreaking to try to explain to your loved one, that person's not there, those people aren't there, you know.
Gosh.
And so it's a struggle, you know, to help these people and know that you know, you're just doing the best you can.
Yeah. But you guys are coming in and you're doing something completely new. I mean, I would have never thought that people with Parkinson's are going to do kickboxing.
Right.
And boxing or rock boxing or okay, so explain to us.
They love it.
What are you doing? Because I mean, it's out of my. I can't even picture it. So you gotta explain to us now. What are you doing with this?
So it's a boxing-based fitness program. When I started doing it years ago, there was 100 and something affiliates. Now there's over 800 affiliates around the world. Yeah, we're all around the world now. But it is a boxing-based fitness program specifically designed for people with Parkinson's or Parkinsonisms or certain other neurological disorders such as like progressive supranuclear palsy is also one. I had one of those clients as well. And so there's aspects of boxing that help people with Parkinson's, right? There's a lot of hip rotation, right? So to avoid that rigidity. You know, the stance of somebody that is, if you're in a fighter's stance, to stand with your feet like this, right, is you have a larger base and a larger, right? I always tell people if you're standing like this, you're like a tree in a forest, right? That can be easily swayed, right? If you're like this, your base is a little bit bigger, you're a little bit more sturdy. You go like this and you've just increased your circumference, right?
Right, yeah.
So getting people to, right, and be able to stand in both ways, right? So we switch our stances from orthodox to southpaw, so they're learning. It's also a mental thing. So if I give you the combination, and this is your jab, if your left foot's forward, but if you switch your feet, now this is your jab. So now you have to do the whole combination backwards in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So, and you start adding things to it. Okay, you're doing, you know, jab, cross, hook. Now we're doing jab, cross, hook, uppercut, and we're doing 2 squats. And then we're going to add something else to it, you know? So it's like when you go to the doctor and they're like, remember these 5 things. And then 10 minutes later, they're like, what were those 5 things? You know?
I can't even remember.
So, you know, I
like
do
me in an aerobics class, and they go this way and this way and this way, and then by the time they go the other way, I'm like, what were we doing again? Like, I can't even remember.
I do that, so I'll have them do the whole combination in
so
orthodox, and then we'll do some other stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, now we're doing it in southpaw. What was the first combination we did? And they're like, jab, front kick, you know.
So cool.
So, but they have fun. They're friends, you know. And we celebrate every single victory, no matter how small it is.
Yeah.
Because those are huge, you know. And you got somebody who's kicking the bag just like this, you know, like barely, you know, and the balance is bad. And they're
kick a bag. I mean,
they literally, yes. And you'll see them they'll start out where they're just kicking their bag like this, and then they're kicking their back. You're like, whoa, when did that start happening? He's like, yeah, I know, I can kick my back. Look, I can reach my hands behind my back now too, you know.
And so the age demographic, what are we talking here? Because I know I've seen some of the people in your class.
And you're like, they aren't doing that. They're
pretty old. And I mean, you're saying they're kicking a bag?
Lorna, some of them are doing 180 jump squats.
You're kidding me.
No. I'm telling you. And the first time I was like, okay, so we're going to do 180 jump squats. They're like, no, we're not. I'm like, yes, you are. You know, yes, you are. Even if you're just jumping around. That's one of the PT, like one of the assessments that we do if we first, you know, we want them to jump 2 feet.
Okay.
I don't care how far. I mean, ideally, I want them to be at least like a foot or 2 of their length. But for them to jump 2 feet, and I want the 2 feet come off and 2 feet to land.
Sure.
It's balance. There's a lot of things that are going on there. It's getting their heart rate up, right? But yeah, some of them can do And some of them just feel proud of themselves because they can do 180 jump squats.
That is incredible.
Right? The other day they were doing sumo jack squats, and I was like, why didn't I have you guys doing these before? Look at you guys are doing great, you know? You know, and there's modifications for everything, right?
Yes.
Some people have, you know, torn rotator cuff or whatever. You know what I mean? You have issues that are going on.
You're working with
everything.
everybody and anybody.
You do modification just like you do in a normal
Gotcha.
fitness exercise class.
Yeah.
You know, walk into a normal fitness exercise class and, you know, a regular kickboxing, the other kickboxing classes I teach, you know.
Yeah.
Not everybody's on the same level.
Yeah. And what are the age demographics that you're working with here?
So
predominantly, I'm sure there's.
Yeah. So my youngest is 56.
Okay.
And it was a fun story there about how I got him in because I kept calling him. I'm like, you coming? You coming? You said you were coming. I didn't see you today. I'm like, listen, you come one time and I won't bug you again.
That's so sweet.
Okay? Just come one time. I promise you'll never hear from me again. I won't bug you anymore. You know, but you gotta come. You know, and he came and now he's the first one there. He's the last one to leave and he helps out with my second class.
No way.
He volunteers for my second class.
Oh, man.
Yeah, his mom moved away and he's like, I'm not coming. She's like, there's a VA up there. You can, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh,
Like, no, I've got my rock box down here.
He's like, there's not a Courtney. I'm staying right here.
It's so funny.
So
he's
the youngest. So he's 56. My oldest is 88.
And they're doing jumps, kickboxes, and
Yeah, so some of them are in my second class. So I have two classes. So, you know, we categorize them 1 through 4, and that's basically kind of on a fall risk assessment. But
Gotcha.
So I have like my 1s and 2s in one class, and my 3s and my 4s.
Okay.
Per se.
Gotcha.
So those that, you know, in the 3s and the 4s we function a lot on, you know, pull, push, legs, right? A lot of those types of exercises, right? Being able to pull yourself, push, leg strength, right? Really transitional movements and keeping the functionality going. You know, one of those clients actually, you know, his family said, the only thing that we regret is that we didn't find you sooner.
Really?
Because it's made such an impact, and he's the one that's 88, and they're like, it's made such an impact in his life, you know, and not just physically, but emotionally too.
As well. Because they've got a community now, and they see other people that had the same diagnosis that they have, and they're doing this. They're turning back the clock.
Yeah,
and then
that's what
phenomenal.
It is, and that's what the tests and all the research and stuff now has shown is that high intensity exercise has a neuroprotective qualities about it, right? So that's what helps combat and delay the onset of those symptoms, right? Okay. And neuroplasticity is a real thing.
Yes.
Right? So you do things repeated enough, your brain's going to figure out, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why people's balance can improve and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, that's how the whole Rocksteady name came about. A guy, Scott Newman, started it. And he got Parkinson's. He was young, early onset. And they, you know, he got diagnosed, was pretty upset about it or whatever, and went to his friend who happened to be a boxer. And he's like, hey, man, I want you to teach me how to box. And the guy's like, that's dangerous. No.
Yeah.
And the neurologist was like, just go home and prepare yourself. And he's like, I'm not doing that. He put a heavy bag up in his garage and started boxing and sat down in front of his family after about 6 months and said, look, I'm rock steady.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm rock steady. My hand's not trim right. Why?
Wow.
You know, so he's like, all right, now we got to figure out why.
Wow.
Right?
And that's where it started.
That's where it all started. That's where the rock steady started.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
Scott Newman. He was a prosecutor up in Indianapolis.
That's amazing.
So it started with early young onset with Parkinson's because he was young when he got it.
Yeah. So there's no real age. I mean, you could just, do they know what starts it or why people get it, or is it?
They still don't even know if it's genetics or if it's environmental. Okay. A lot of people think it's a little bit of both. They do. They have finally said that, like Agent Orange.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people over in Nam. You know, so a lot of vets have it. But you know, I had two brothers that were in the program, and they've since moved away up north. But they both grew up on a farm. So they're convinced it's the pesticides.
Oh. who knows? Nobody knows.
Right.
Really,
But then,
right?
then I have a father and son that had it.
Yeah.
That didn't have any sort of those.
Yeah.
Didn't
No
have any,
pesticides near them, and so who knows?
Yeah. So there's really no
hard to say.
strong answer yet.
Yeah. And evidently, I mean, it would be nice if we could find a cause, because maybe then there's ways that one could prevent it. But at the end of the day, once you have that diagnosis, what does it help to ponder about where it came from?
Right.
Now you've got it. Now it's unfair. It really sucks. But now you've got to decide, all right, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
Right? Am I going to sit at home, wither away, and take this diagnosis, or
We're gonna fight back. We're gonna
right?
fight back.
One punch at a time.
Yeah, that was a little thing I came up with because I like that. You're fighting back when it's one punch at a time.
Yeah.
Because it's every small victory and it's every single punch. And I always I love my people, but they're always like, she just hollered, we just listened to her yell at us for an hour. And I'm like, it's not yelling, it's hollering, and it's out of love,
You're so funny.
They do. I always tell them, I'm like, your body's loving you, but not as much as I do. Keep it going, pick it up. Because I want them to get into what I call the orange zone. Okay. So I want them to get to that high intensity. That's where the magic happens, I tell them, right?
Yeah.
You got to get that, right? So like one of the studies, I can go through a lot of the studies, but one of the studies that they did was like riding your bike, right? Riding your bike's great. Ride around your neighborhood. That's wonderful. Go for walks, things like that. But it's riding your bike at a forced, intense rate of exercise, right? That gets your heart rate up. That's where you're going to start seeing that neuroprotective start happening, right? So you're going to start fighting back against those diseases. You're going to actually delay the onset of them or reverse them, right? And see them improving significantly.
Yeah.
That's
so true, because actually in a previous interview, I was literally sitting with a studio and guest, and they were discussing about when you train in a gym and your muscles actually have to tear and recover for you to really improve and build them, right? And we were just actually talking about life, like how life can really tear you apart sometimes,
right?
And then rebuild you, right? And you come out stronger, of course, which it doesn't feel like it at the time, because it's just painful and excruciating, and you're like, why is this happening to me?
Right.
But and how true that is. But I'm sure it's like this, the same thing. It's like you say, you've got to get into that orange zone, that uncomfortable zone, right? Consistently stay there in that. It comes up constantly, and yet it is so difficult to do that, right? Because it's uncomfortable. We don't want that. Like your brain is saying, don't go there. Don't go. It's not nice.
This hurts. I tell them challenge equals change. That's another thing I holler at them. Challenge equals change. If it's not challenging, we're not changing, right? We do, strength training is just as important as the cardio portion of it with the boxing, right? So we're doing strength training, we're doing stretching, we're using resistance bands, we're using TRX, we're using medicine balls, we're doing things to build up the core strength, right? There's so many different things that are going on, right? They're using their voices, right? Because speech is a big deal too, right? So I want them to be working on those diaphragm and speaking from their diaphragm and not hollering from their lungs. But
so many things, right?
There is. There's
focusing on in one class. That's amazing.
It is. Well, and that's the thing. I can't necessarily touch on every single thing, but
but over time, and like you say, every small win is a celebration. However small it is. You have a ton of incredible testimonies.
I have some.
Tell us a few of them, because we were talking about that before the interview, and I was like, what? What?
I know, they're so amazing, and every time they come in and they tell me something, and I was like, wait. We need to tell the class this. Like, you need to share this. This is a huge victory. This is, enormous, right? You need to share this with
And what
your
a great encouragement for everybody else to hear. Right. Then they know, oh my gosh, this is
and
amazing.
they want to hear it, and they're the ones that are going to other people, like new people that come in. That's what I always tell someone, just come in, you need to meet these people. They're going to they're going to tell this program, they're going to tell you about this program better than I will, you know. But they'll say, hey, yeah, you know, he came in on a walker the first week and he hasn't been on his walker since, you know, and this guy over here, and they're like telling everybody else's stories, you know. Cool. It is, it's so cute. It's so cute.
like a little Parkinson church.
It is, it's so cute. They're like, yeah, and this guy, and this guy.
I love it.
But yeah, you know, I have people that couldn't get up and off the floor, you know, and in 7 years, and they could do it 9 times in 2 minutes.
What?
You know,
7 years?
7 years.
And now he's getting up 9 times
I was a woman,
in 2 minutes.
And can get up and off the floor, 9 times in 2 minutes, right?
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I've had people who've cut their meds in half.
That's awesome too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because medicine and chemicals and medication that we take, it causes other problems eventually anyway, right? So we all know that, like chemicals in our body, we take it to heal this thing, and then eventually it starts causing something else, and then you've got to take that medicine to heal that problem, and then that causes that. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know.
I had one guy.
So if you can cut your medication, that's huge.
It's huge for them. I mean, it's a huge win for them.
Yeah. Besides the financial burden that's lifted, because medicine is so expensive. Yeah.
I had, you know, one guy who had who was like borderline like heart disease, you know, and then, you know, he was with me for a year, went back and got his you know, cardiogram and all that stuff done, and the doctor's like, you're like 10 years younger on these tests. Yeah, like he's like, you're like above average for your age right now. You're like above average. So,
and how long have he been with you?
You know, he does, and we can't say that it was my program.
Yeah, but it definitely had a part in it, I'm sure, right? Because what else did he do besides your program?
Nothing else.
Nothing else, right?
So yeah,
pretty much it was your program, okay?
Yeah, it's like,
for the most part.
That's amazing, right?
Wow.
That's amazing that somebody that was so scared about something that was impeding on, you know, for their health, and just through exercise, because cardiovascular health is huge, and that's a huge part of. That's a huge part of it. So. But yeah, you know, and I had people who, you know, kayak and canoeing was their favorite pastime, and it became something that was difficult for them because when they would get in and out of their kayak, they would always fall because their balance was so bad, right? And so, you know, that's one of the big components of the program is building up that core strength and then improving on that balance. And now, not only does he help other people in and out of their kayak and canoes, and he needs absolutely zero help, and he lets everybody know that. But I mean, he'll do one-legged squats. He'll put his foot up on the bench and do one-legged squats.
What?
Yeah. And he you know, he does fine. I've you know, got him on the Bosu and got him doing squats on the Bosu, and
that's amazing.
You know,
people you're literally giving people their lives back, right? Because I can't imagine if you get a diagnosis like that. I mean, you obviously feel like you're losing your life. If you're losing your freedom and you're losing the ability to do certain things that you love and like, I mean, I can't even imagine that, because I'm an active person. I like doing stuff. I'm busy. I'm working. I can't even, when I just get, I very seldom get the flu, honestly. I really seldom get sick. I think I'm just, you know, too busy.
That's what I was going to say. I'm too busy to get sick. I don't know. It just doesn't happen.
I'm busy. Like, I hate those words, busy. I always say busy stands for being under Satan's yoke. So I don't want to say busy. Yeah. Okay. I hate saying I'm busy, but let's say for this particular sentence, I always say I'm too busy to get sick, right? Because I'm just like running. And when I just have like a headache for half a day, or maybe I get the flu once in 3 years or something, it really annoys me more than the feeling sick, the feeling of not being able to do what I want to, and I know I've got a ton of things to get done, and now I have a whole day that I'm not able to do that. That's almost worse for me than feeling sick, right? It's I don't know why. That's just maybe the way I'm put together. So in my brain, I cannot even imagine getting a diagnosis like that. It must be devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to hear them talk about it is just, you know, your heart pours out to them, you know. But when they, you know, talk about, I have some awesome testimonies that they, you know, where they're just sitting in the gym and they're just crying, you know, just talking about how important the program is to them and what it means to them and what a difference that they've made, you know. Anywhere from just losing weight to being able to put their hands behind their back again, to, you know,
because you can just tie up your shirt or your pants or something, like something small like that.
Yeah,
like
reach down, touch your toes and tie your shoes,
thing, right?
Right. And tight muscles are a thing with Parkinson's too. And there's lots of symptoms.
Tons of things. Courtney, you are literally changing their lives. You're recovering their lives. You're changing the lives of their family members. It is phenomenal what you're doing. You're living out your God-called destiny, right? Is there anything that you would like to say to our audience or studio guests in closing, right? That you want to leave with them besides the Parkinson's and what you're doing here, just to encourage them to live out their calling and their destinies?
It's never too late.
Wow.
Yeah, it's never too late. And it's perfect timing, you know, and maybe it's not that it's not too late, it's that it's the right time.
Sure.
You know, and that everything that led up to that moment was preparing you for the moment that you're at right now. So, other than that, because that's what it's all about, you know, is figuring out, to me, it was figuring out what my gifts that God had given me and where I was going to use them in His kingdom, you know. And the Parkinson's showed me that.
You're amazing.
Thank
You're
you.
phenomenal. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing.
Thank
you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, that is it from me, Lorna Grayling and M-powerTV. If you would like to get in touch with Courtney, take a look on the screen right now. Her details will be on there. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our episodes. And go ahead and leave a comment. It will really help the algorithms, even if it's a bad comment. So it's okay, fine, leave it. We'll reply on it and it will still help us. So go ahead and do that. Share the episode. And until next week, goodbye.